right, guys and girls. So we've got a new firmware update for our Explorer Autopilot for the i6X. So this will be the new one that's going to work with the latest remotes that we've got. So there has been a few changes. So first of all, we're going to put our remote on. Gives you this awesome intro, great music, right? Okay, and then obviously we turn the boat on. So I'm putting the boat on in front of me here. Okay. Our boat's initialized. This now is the bind key is actually our LED key. Turn the light on briefly. So that'll be the satellites. We're indoors at the moment. That'll be our signal strength for our remote. Signal strength for remote. Okay. Our boat voltage currently at 15.3, and our pen lights inside the remote. What mode we're in? We're obviously in manual mode at the moment. Okay. Waiting for satellites, and that'll be our distance to point of interest, our physical point, and the water we're working in, which is water 1. Speed and course will not work because we don't have that active, and we don't have a speed sensor. And then we can configure this up the way we like it, any way we like it, but the way Camo does it, or the way we do it, is throttle, left and right. This will be, I just want to see which way I did it, if it's up or down. Okay, that is our points of interest now, left and right. Okay, cool, and you'll see that'll change there. Bucket, spinner, LEDs on, and our fish finder on this boat. Okay, this is our variable speed for autopilot. This is to navigate and save. This is to return home. Okay. And then obviously this is going to be our points of interest, left and right. Up has nothing at the moment. And then on the Camo, I've got this trim key. Every boat will be different, but most of the time this trim key up is battery backup engaged, and up again means it's off. Okay, so that's that. Okay, then let's go into the menu. Well, the nice thing about this one is that you don't have to go into the menu, and I don't really want you to go into the menu. You used to have to go into the menu to trim the boat, but now we've moved trim. So wherever our rudder is, this key will now be the trim key for the rudder, and you'll see now if I push the trim key, there's the trim setting briefly. Okay, so trim is back to here again. Great, no need to go into the menu and mess things up. But if you had to go into the menu, push the OK button. Okay, hold it in for a second. There's the remote setup and the boat setup. Okay, under remote setup, I push OK again. This is to navigate. You can adjust your contrast. You can set your low battery limit for the pen lights, which is now 4 volts, I think is the lowest anyway. Your in-action signal, so if you're not using the remote, obviously for a while it starts beeping at you, that's set to 5 minutes. Activation, don't go in there. Okay. To go out of the menu, hold cancel in. Boat setup. Okay. Channel setup, don't go in there. I'm not going to even show you, because if you change something in there and it's wrong, you undo all my calibrations, so then your boat won't work, and then you're going to phone me and be very upset. Voltage alarm, that's when the battery low point of your battery is. So let's say you want to change something, you just say okay, the arrow jumps across, right? Then you can use this to adjust your settings, but we want it on 14.8. Hold cancel in, the arrow jumps back across again to that side. Okay, Explorer setup, not in use at the moment, it's for future stuff, so we'll leave it alone, and that's to bind your remote, which we don't need to do. Hold cancel again, and out you go. So there's no need for you to actually go into that menu anymore. Obviously we're indoors now, it's struggling to find satellites, it's going to take a while, but just to show you, so throttle, left, right, points, so bucket, spinner, I've gone through all of this now, but let's do it again, and that's your lights and so forth. Variable speed, save, navigate and save, and return home. So if I want to save a point of interest, everything is still the same as the previous version. We first want to select the water we're in. So let's say we're at area 1, dam 1, swim 1, whatever you want to call it. So if I push SWC all the way down, I can then change this number here. Okay, so you can see now it's on 2 and 3 or whatever. Okay, so we want to work, let's say we want to work within water 3 all the way up. And if I move, and home is always 0. So now I'm on 0, and you always got to save home first. I don't have enough satellites to do that now, but let's just do it. So I need to save home, and you always have to do an action first, irrelevant it being home. You still got to drop a bucket or a spinner, but let's just say we drop a bucket down, save. It will then save our home point once we've got satellites. So home is saved, and you drive your boat out and you find your point of interest for your first rod, and you move across to point 1. Okay, let me put the light on again. Point 1, so now that'll be rod 1, and we're in dam 3 or area 3 or sum 3 or whatever we want to use it for. And we want to, on that point of interest, I want to drop the bucket, spin the spinner, save that option. It'll then save it. Okay, you don't have to drop the spinner. You can spin manually after you've dropped. You don't have to do that every time, but if you wanted to do automatically, then obviously that's what it will do. Then if you want to navigate to that point of interest, you obviously have it on 1, and you say navigate is middle. Boat will navigate to said point of interest. Obviously you leave it there, it'll do its thing, it'll just drop the bucket, spin the spinner, and then return home automatically. Remember, once it's in the middle here, you will have no control of any of the boat until you actually put this off. Alright, this is to return home. And why would you want return home? Or let me just break it down for you. This system wants to get within a meter of the target, okay, which in reality is not always possible, because you've got wind aspect and you've got line drag aspect. The customer hasn't trimmed his boat straight, so the boat's hoing a left or it's hoing a right. The GPS wants to get within a meter, and it sometimes won't achieve that. It might be, let's say your meter point is here and your boat might get to here, and what it's going to do, it's going to try and turn around right to get to here, or it might try and turn around like that to get to there. At that particular point, one would use a bit of common sense and say, hang on, brew, I'm not going to make it. Cancel my autopilot. I'm in my zone already. The fish are going to swim from here to here. Okay, I cancel it. I drop my bucket. I spin my spinner. I let my line sink. I then say, return home, boat's going to come home. So, you know, in the real world and real things going on there, sometimes you have to intervene. It won't always hit target exactly. Yeah, and that's that. And then you can see I've got 4 satellites coming up now. Being indoors is a bit of a problem. But yeah, that's the whole system. And then obviously if you had a fish finder installed or whatever, lights, normally lights is on the first. You can see the lights on here. And then the fish finder is second. Okay, the reason why I do that is you don't always use the fish finder, so having the lights on as well with the fish finder isn't going to draw much current. But if you want to use your lights at night and you're not going to use the fish finder, then you know the fish finder being on first would draw more current. So I have it in this aspect. Okay, and remember, however the boat's set up, the first 5 meters of the boat is normally slow, and then it picks up speed as it gets its trajectory going, and this is your variable speed for that. Cool, guys, that's it. And remember, turn boat off first, and then the remote, and vice versa, remote on first, then boat. On this system, I've turned the fail-safe off on my new boats, and why I've done that is, let's say a signal is lost here, or the remote is switched off. If you're an autopilot, it will still complete its course. So if you're running autopilot and something happens to the remote, the boat is still going to go to the target. It's still going to do whatever you told it to do, and it's still going to return home, even though the remote is off. If I have fail-safe active and I cut this off, then it cancels everything and it returns home, which isn't ideal. I'd rather let it drop its lines and then come back. Yeah, but it's your preference. Cool, man. That's that.